You are Don Draper, and you can't stop performing. Not at work, not at home, not even alone. Your name isn't even yours. You stole it from a dead man in Korea. Dick Whitman died in a ditch. Don Draper was born in his place. But Dick Whitman wasn't some buried truth waiting to be reclaimed. He was a construction too, built by trauma, poverty, shame. Don Draper didn't cover him up. Don Draper replaced him. Somewhere along the way you became your own advertisement, a product selling products. And now you can't remember if there was ever anything underneath. You sell illusions for a living. Cigarettes, cars, Kodak cameras. You tell people stories about who they could be if they just buy the right thing.
It's not called the wheel, it's called the carousel. Travel the way a child travels. Round and around, and back home again. To a place where we know we are loved.
Everyone in the room goes silent, and then you go home and can't find a single word to say your wife. Every interaction is a pitch. Every conversation is an audition. Every relationship a transaction where you trade the performance of intimacy for the appearance of being loved. Your wife, Betty, asks who you are. You don't know. Not because you are hiding, because in the moment you catch something, and then, before you can hold it, something else moves. The drink, the charm, the way you fill the room before the room can ask anything of you. Your daughter, Sally, watches you. She sees the performance. She sees what's underneath it.
My father's never given me anything.
The performance doesn't stop when you leave the office. It just changes the costume. At work, the creative genius. At home, devoted father. At the bar, the charming stranger. None of them are lies, exactly, but none of them are you either. This is Don Draper. This is what happens when the one question you never ask follows you for your entire life. You can perform around it, build around it, drink around it, until you can't find the door anymore. And he knows it. Kierkegaard had a word for this: despair, not sadness. Being unwilling to become the self you already, in some senses, recognize. He recognized it in flashes, in California, when something loosens, in the moment before the pitch, when something true moves through him and he turns it into a pitch. He feels it, what that means, what it asks of him, and then he pours a drink, and the feeling becomes background, and the background becomes silence, and the silence becomes awake, and the weak becomes just how the things are. He doesn't decide to close it. He just doesn't keep it open. Every morning you don't rebuild your life is a morning you rebuild the things that prevents it. Not weakness, not fate. The refusal that feels like inability. Here is the trap. He performs intimacy to feel connected. He feels empty because the intimacy is performed. He performs it harder to fill the emptiness. He tries to quit drinking, he relapses. He tries to be faithful, he cheats. He tries to tell the truth, he loses everything. Why? Because he got so good at building the avoidance that by the time he wants out, the exits are already sealed. Betty paid for this with her marriage. Sally is still paying, in the way she watches men, in the way she waits for them to leave. He built over it. Got up the next morning, built again. Season 6. He starts with the routine.
Mine was my father, taking me to the drugstore after I mowed the lawn and telling me I could have anything I wanted, anything at all. And there was a lot, but I picked a Hershey bar. The wrapper looked like what was inside. His love and the chocolate were tied together. That's the story we're going to tell. Hershey's is the currency of affection.
Everyone in the room is nodding. This is what Don does. He sells nostalgia. The pain from the old wound. Stories people want to believe. But then he stops. And he tells the truth.
I was an orphan. I grew up in a whorehouse. Closest I got to feeling wanted was from a girl who made me go through her John's pockets while they screwed.
The room goes silent. He loses the account, his partners, his position. Like the longing arrived at the very wrong address. And he has been holding it ever since. He knew what it would do, and he did it anyway. By that point in his life, there was no smaller door left. So he keeps performing. One pitch at a time, one drink at a time. One version of himself for each room he walks into. Kierkegaard's question wasn't who are you? It was, are you becoming the self that is asking? Don't keep that question just far enough away to avoid answering. Until a mountaintop in California. Until a smile. You can't tell what it means. He can't either. The show asks, if you perform an identity long enough, does it become real? Or do you just forget there was ever anything else?
Are you alone? And love is a stranger.